Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to Zooming in the Jungle Room. Today I'm very privileged because I have got the amazing, the delightful, the iconic Martha Wainwright. Martha, welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm looking at the window. There's lots of snow here, so I'm very excited to get on the plane next month and come to you guys.
Well, you know what? I mean, we are obviously entering winter, but summer is still hanging on here. In Adelaide, just on the weekend gone, we had 32 degrees, which in Fahrenheit, I'm not exactly sure what
No,
that is.
yeah.
Um, uh,
Canada is in centigrade too, so
oh,
you're fine.
okay. So it is still quite warm, but I don't know. Look, another month, we may be getting into the winter weather, but we'll see how we go. I promise you, though, Adelaide will not be snowing. All will be
Good, good.
Martha, when is the last time that you came to Australia?
It's been 6 years, which is the longest, it's been, since I've been making music. I've come to Australia quite a bit, and it's always been a really big part of my touring schedule and a big part of my career too. I have to say, that it's been your audiences have always been really wonderful. So I really miss you guys. I was gonna try and come last year, but that didn't work out. And of course, since the pandemic, I know you guys really were in a serious lockdown, and it's just really starting to come back. So congratulations.
Thank you. And look, I say to many people that I interview, we're really blessed in Australia at the moment. The arts and entertainment has really just come leaps and bounds ahead again after, really, really suffering for such a good few years. So
Yeah.
we're in a really privileged kind of space at the moment. So super thankful to finally have so many international artists coming back over to us again. Yay.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Now, before we get on to the tour, I'm going to take you right back to the very first time. I was just telling you before that I'm a massive fan of your music. I'm going to take you right back to when I first was introduced to you. I've been a fan. I mean, look, you've got a musical family, that are, just legendary. Your mother, Kate, your late mother, Kate, who is just iconic. Your father, Luden, and of course, your brother, Rufus. I was obsessed with his Rufus show, which was obviously the Judy Garland show that he did, which included an album as well, a good few years ago. Your mother featured on it, and of course you featured on it. You did a cameo. That's when I first came across Martha Wainwright. From there, I fell into the album Bloody Motherfucking Arsehole. We can swear on this channel. It's totally fine.
Good. Good.
And of course, that's when my love affair really started with you. How was it back in those days when you were releasing that first album, Bloody Mother?
Yeah. That was kind of that was a very exciting time for me. I had always, I grew up in a music family, as you say, sort of understandably in the shadows of that. I started off as my brother's backup singer. I sang backup for him for his first two records, and even before he started making records. And so it was a late start for me. I moved down to New York when I was 21 from Montreal, and I was playing the clubs and doing the thing, and Rufus's records were coming out. And my family, there was a lot of, what felt like a lot of kind of baggage to sort of try and shrug off, which I think all young people feel, a lot of anger and, resentment and a lot of stuff that fueled songs, which was great. But it did take a good amount of time. People would listen to my music in the record industry and sort of not really know where to put it. Okay, it's not folk, it's not rock, it's not electronic, it's not, or I didn't look at the right way, or it. And so finally, to then get to a point where the record came out, and that song Bloody Motherfucking Asshole, which was I think the song that obviously captured people's interest the most. First I ended up with a publicist in London who flew me over, and she had, every major newspaper there. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. And I remember the first time I arrived in Australia, there was audiences that knew that song and other songs from that first record. So it was really like it was a really big deal, for me, because I felt, all that hard work and and all the sort of, am I good enough, or, is this going to work out? Sort of, it went away, and I had some, great opportunities and got to be on television shows, and it was fun, and really exciting.
I think what people really embraced, and this is totally my point of view, but I think what people really resonated with and embraced with your style is that on top of your talent, your incredible unique voice and your musical prowess, was that you came on board with a lot of cheeky kind of irreverence and tongue-in-cheek kind of humor as well, which made you, in my view, again, very captivating. One
Thank you.
of my favorite albums, I know you're married, but I've got feelings too. And I love long title albums. I like, give me a sentence. Pet Shop Boys are brilliant at doing it. Martha also is equally. But this wasn't released on the album all around the world, just on in certain countries, but there was a really, really well-arranged version of the Eurythmics' Love Is a Stranger. Was that a song that you really wanted to do? Was there something about that song that resonated with you?
Absolutely incredible song. And also, Annie Lennox, was a big influence on me as a kid. When I was singing, I had, of course, the folk music of my parents as inspiration, but really I was listening to the radio like everybody else, all young people, and those female singers like Annie Lennox or Cyndi Lauper, they really molded how I wanted to sing, because I would try and sound like them, and then through that found my own voice eventually. But it is really important to try things out, and to take that song which is kind of pop electronic sound of the Eurythmics, and then to do that on an acoustic guitar with kind of a rocky, very kind of non-British band, and it really works. And Love Is a Stranger is such a it's such a great song.
So let's say Martha's having a nice day at home. It's snowing outside. Just pottering around, doing your thing, tending to your indoor plants or whatever you do. Who do you put on the record player? Who would you listen to?
Well, right now my friend, right, there's a record player over here underneath I don't know if you can see it underneath the.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, and on there is a friend of mine, Tommy Crane. It says danceable music for all occasions, and that actually happens to be. I wish my sound system were on. I would just turn it on for you. It happens to be kind of not very experimental, but new jazz instrumental music, but beautifully played. So. He's a drummer, but there's, electronic drums and horn section, and just really gorgeous kind of ambient music, which is not normally what I would listen to, but it's what I've been listening to like on repeat. And so it really varies. My son, Archangel, my eldest son, is really into playing music now. So usually I'm really at the mercy of what he's listening to, which luckily is pretty good. And right now I'm teaching. I have a couple of kids choirs, and I'm teaching them some songs. So I've been showing him the songs, and we've been learning All Apologies by Nirvana, because I like to have like 8-year-olds singing Nirvana. I think that's really good. And we're also doing some songs in French because it's Montreal. So we were doing some beautiful songs, this beautiful song called Le Blues du Businessman, which is about a businessman making a lot of money, but really what he always wanted to be was an artist, and he'll never be able to be an artist. So that's sort of what's going through my head the last couple of days.
And Martha, what inspires you to continue in the music industry? You've been doing this for a good few years now. What keeps you motivated?
Well, it's my profession. I need to do it. I support my family doing it, and I'm their sole support, like, financial support. So I have a responsibility to them, but also to myself to continue, because I love doing it. I love playing. I'm not always on the road because I do have kids, so I end up being home more than a lot of musicians, which means that when I do go on the road, I'm really excited to be there, playing in the clubs or in the halls and hanging out and seeing people and visiting people that I've made, friends that I've made over years. And then when I'm home, I'm, kind of taking that and that privilege and trying to share it. I have a small music venue in Montreal, a tiny little club, and we book a lot of, young up and coming bands and young people. And I like to go there and hear what they're doing and hear the crazy, wonderful music that they're making. And then also, jamming and teaching kids music, like for fun. And, it just, music is what I've done my whole life, and it's the best part of my life.
Like when you listen to music, is it quite diverse, the range, the genre of music that you like to enjoy?
Absolutely. It always has been. I'm really open to discovering things and people, whether it's meeting somebody who happens to play a kind of music that I have never really experienced, and then sort of getting into hearing that, and then shifting into something else and just being really open to it, has it's always been something that I like to do. And always the way that I would discover music in the past, and I hope this continues too, is by playing festivals. And you go play Glastonbury, you go play a big festival, and you'd be on, and then the next band who happened to be on your stage was on, and then you would just like discover that, or by walking through the festival and just being like going to the different smaller stages, and being like, oh, I've never heard of this band. And that kind of discovery I really like.
Beyonce obviously has just last weekend brought out, her new album, which is very country inspired. Is there a genre that you might want to start to play in that you've never, really taken down on that road of?
Well, country is a great genre to sing, because it's just filled with great melodies and great songs, and touches people so strongly, at the essence of it. And I so I maybe today is not the moment because Beyonce is doing it. Maybe I'll wait a couple of years, but my next record, it's not going to be in a genre that I've never done, but I'm working. I've started writing songs for the next record, and I think what I'd like to do is just do a voice and guitar record, because I've never done that. And I write all my songs by myself in my living room on the guitar. So that really brings it back to the singer-songwriter, the troubadour, the essence of what I do, which is probably the people that inspired me the most, people like Bob Dylan. So I think that that'll be a good test for my guitar playing to really see if it's up to snuff. I think, the next thing after that would be to try and sing, but it's hard to imagine it. But I do like to sing, not musicals per se, but some Kurt Weill and things like that, which is more for the stage. So that could be the next one too after that.
Now, I was having coffee with somebody yesterday and actually having a conversation about this, and I'm going somewhere with this story. But
Okay.
I said to them, I'm really quite prolific on like throwing stuff onto social media. And I was saying to them, a part of social media for me is collecting the stories of my days and the story of my life. So that, when I'm 96 and rocking back and forth in, some kind of retirement village, that I can go through my timeline and be like, oh, I remember that and I remember that. Now, you in 2022 released a memoir called Stories I Might Forget. Is that
Stories I might regret telling you.
Ah, there we go. Is that something?
But I like that, stories I might forget. That's really good.
Is
That's
that?
the next book.
Oh, I
That's
will
a,
get
I'm writing
two
that
parts
down. I'm
too.
stealing that. I'm stealing
Okay,
that.
there you go for it. Is that something? Is it so? What inspired writing the book for you at this point in your life? Is it about collecting the things that you've been through into one formative package?
Well, I wasn't inspired to write the book. I was asked to write the book, and I was told I would get a small advance. So I was like, great, I'll take the money. And I'm an artist, I can write. I think a lot of artists think that they can do anything, like, oh, I can paint, I can act, I can be a writer. And the ego really is a dangerous thing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm sure I'll write a memoir, because a lot of musicians write memoirs now because there was some big successes with a few of them in particular. And so I think that it's a way to, now that people don't buy records as much anymore, they think that maybe they're going to have to become authors. And so I said yes. And then a year went by and I thought I better get started because otherwise I'm going to have to give back the advance, which I've already spent. And then I opened up, the empty screen, and thought, oh my God, what the fuck have I done? Like, this is crazy. But 7 years later, the book was published, and I'm really glad I did it. It was really hard to do. Um, it was, I knew it wasn't going to be about recipes and gardening. It was always going to be about, my life and some gory detail. Although a lot of lawyers went through it and it was vetted, so I haven't been sued. But it was a great thing to do. I'm glad I did it and it's over. But I'm happy with the result, and it's a book that I don't regret having written. And I think a lot of people who have read it have enjoyed it, and that's all that I wanted. I just wanted, and it turns out that I actually wasn't I was not a bad writer, and what came out of it is that as I started to write, and I would send it to the publisher or whatever, I think it was clear that it could be something that is interesting to read, which is all I wanted. I just wanted something that wasn't badly written.
Now, I could talk to you forever because, your stories are just like bountiful. And you know what? I'm sure we can catch up after the show when you come to Adelaide. So
Yeah.
I've just had my 10-minute flash up on this Zoom. I've got the budget version of Zoom, so I don't have forever. I've just had my 10-minute warning come up. So
Yeah.
let's bring it up to today, Martha.
Okay.
In 2021, you released Love Will Be Reborn, which was your 6th studio album. I'm sure you are aware of that. And that is what you're going to be touring. It's the Love Will Be Reborn tour. It is coming to Australia, and it's coming to Adelaide as well. It's playing the Gov on Tuesday, the 14th of May, 2024. I'm going to be there in the very front row with my banner saying yay. Martha, what can we expect from the tour Love Will Be Reborn?
Well, we'll be doing songs from this last record. I'll be on stage with a band, drums, bass, piano, saxophone, and but we'll also go back into older records, like I Know You're Married and Come Home to Mama, and we have some time during the show to look at some other songs. So if you yell out something that you want to hear, there's a good chance I can do it. And I'll also be reading a little bit from the book and doing some of the songs that I talk about in the book, a song of Rufus's, a song of my mom's. And usually what I do is I just have a piece of paper on the ground with about 25 songs on it, and I see what happens, and the show is generally about, usually hits about 18, 19 songs. So it's sort of what we feel like, and sort of what the audience feels like, and whether it's are we more of a rockin' mode, are we feeling a more subdued mode, and we just kind of go with that.
And when you get to Australia, is there anything you're looking forward to doing? Considering it's been 6 years since you've been here.
I know. Well, it's sad because I think we're doing like 11 shows in 14 days or 10 shows. It's really a tight tour. But the idea was to get back to you guys because it's been a long time, and then come right back a year later and just keep going and going. Because really, you know, it's when I can be there for a couple of days before and after and in between, then we really get to, I really get to experience your incredible country. I will say that just on this quick tour, I will be so happy to reconnect with the audiences and some friends that I've made over the last 20 years of coming there. So I think it'll be a lot of wine glass raising and cheering and hugging and quick hellos and quick goodbyes and just thankfulness for being able to be together again.
Now, is there a food or a beverage when you get to Australia that you cannot wait to try again?
Well, I mean, you're in Adelaide, so I'm trying to think of what what is Adelaide most famous for?
Adelaide is
Um,
very much known for its wine region, so we are very,
well, there
very
you go.
and you
I'll
red
be
wine,
drinking some of the wine. Yeah,
red
I'm a
wine
red
or white
wine.
wine? Okay,
Both.
all right. Anything will do.
Depending on what I'm eating, I like to drink wine with food. I think that
All
that's a
right.
good
Well, I'll
rule.
see if I can surprise you at the show.
Oh,
Um,
great. Good.
Martha, what an absolute delight. I cannot wait to see you on tour. I'm sure you're super excited to get over here, out of the cold weather, out of the cold weather and into the cold weather here. But
It's
hopefully
fine.
it won't
It's
be
fine.
quite.
I'll be fine. I'm sure there'll be a couple of warm days.
Yeah, there will be, I promise you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Martha, you take care of yourself, enjoy your rehearsals, and I look forward to seeing you in Adelaide on Tuesday, 14th of May with the Love Will Be Reborn tour. Thank you so
Good.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.